Welcome back to my channel. We are talking intro to Amazon around here, and if you missed ungating on Amazon in step 2, the ungate hurdle, go back to my last call. Today we're talking about prepping products to FBA, send to a warehouse basically, what that looks like, and the tools you will need to complete that process. So let's get to it. I have mentioned before that there are two ways to fulfill orders on Amazon. You can either fulfill the order yourself where you list it, sell it, send it to the customer and deal with all the customer support, or you can buy the product, send it into an Amazon warehouse, and then they basically take care of everything else on the back end of the order. So today we're talking about FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, where you buy the product and send it to a warehouse. This is a great way to scale Amazon. And I will say there's reasons to do merchant, but really we are all on Amazon to scale in one way or another and to move volume, because we have low return product. We have return product that we're making $2, $3 on. And do you want to sit and ship out each of those little orders? No, you probably have other things you can do with your time. So sending those products all to a warehouse relieves you of that stress. And here's what you'll need to complete the process. So I have several products here that I just grabbed that I'll show you how, and some of them have already been prepped, what that looks like, what you'll need. There are, of course, several ways to go about FBAing and sending in products to a warehouse, but I prefer to case pack, which means I want to send in a shipment all of the same products. I want 100 of these. I can split out 25 in each box, and prepping all looks the same, and it becomes like monotonous, and you can create a process that things run a little bit smoother and quicker. And that is called case packing. You can also send in a bunch of multiple items in a shipment, and they all get broken out into different boxes and sent to different warehouses. And that is just not for me. Depending on what's going in the box is going to really tell you how you need to prep it. And as soon as you upload your product, they'll give you kind of an idea of how you need to prep the product. Basically, if it's not cardboard and sealed on all sides, it needs to be polybagged. And I feel like that term has gotten a little bit loose over the past couple years. At one point, I feel like everybody had to polybag everything, and we were all afraid of getting dinged on our account. And now, unless it's like a multi-pack, people are like, it'll be fine. So for instance, something like this, it would probably be up to you if you felt like you needed to do the extra step and polybag a product like this. But basically I would submit, maybe I had 50 in a box. I would open up my shipment, let Amazon know I'm sending them 50 of these in a box, all the same items. And I would get what's called F&SKU labels. And they look like this. I print them out in my Dymo, and these are obviously used. I would take one of these labels and I would put it on the back. I just put that in my coffee. I would put this on the back over this barcode. So when my product arrived at the warehouse, they would scan my barcode. This inventory would go to my catalog. It would be processed correctly. So each product you send to Amazon has to have this sticker. Now, if I decided I wanted to send a 2-pack or a 3-pack, here's what that would look like. I have every size poly bag known to man, and this is what they're saying when you have something that's spillable, that can break open. I do like to poly bag all of my food, because if one breaks open in the box, it's like all ruined. So there's different sizes. I try to find a size. This is obviously going to be a little bit big for this, but basically what you need is something that self-seals and has the suffocation warning on it. So say I was doing a 3-pack, I would put all 3 items in the bag. Again, this bag is a little bit big, and then seal it. Then the F&SKU label would go on the outside of the bag. So when this got to a warehouse, they would scan this, and again, it would go into your inventory system, and this is how the customer would receive the product. And if you shop on Amazon, like we all do, you probably have seen the F&SKU label before. Sending products into a warehouse is actually not that difficult. And you probably are like, okay, What's the catch here? The only thing that I'm not really mentioning is that we all typically use a software tool extension to create our shipments and send them into Amazon. You can upload orders, shipments in your Seller Central portal, but when you use an extension or a tool, sometimes the information you're given is a little bit clearer and broken out. So like I use Inventory Lab, and when I put in my inventory and I'll say, this is the ASIN I want to sell on, and here's my product, and I'm sending in 50, and here's my cost, and here's what I'm going to sell it for, it'll immediately tell you your expected return, any red flags, if you're gated, if the weight is off and you're going to be overcharged, little things along the way that uploading shipments in Seller Central doesn't do. This is also something that when you get started, you can really use what you have as far as tools in your office to create shipments. But as you do it, you start creating a process, streamlining, and get better efficient. You become more efficient at this. So I'm going to tell you what I use. I hope it doesn't overwhelm you and make you feel like you have to go invest in all these other things to get started, because you really don't. So as I said, you are going to need, as we talked about earlier, you are going to need poly bags, and I will share a couple places down below you can purchase these from. You can just get, unless you have a specific product in mind that you're going to need a specific size for, you can also get multi-sizes in one box. So depending on if you're shopping clearance at Walmart or you find a good seasonal product to flip, you have multiple sizes to choose from, and then decide as you go which poly bag you use the most of. Obviously, we use these labels, and when I got started, I just had my desktop printer and I would insert the whole page of labels and print them out. That was fine. And if you have a desktop printer, you know what I'm talking about, and it works fine, but it's not efficient. There's obviously a lot of things when you do that that can go wrong, whereas if you use the Dymo label writer, it will print these labels out for you. And I'm sure there are several other little printers that you can get to print these out for you. My Dymo is connected to Inventory Lab. So when I create the shipment and I tell Inventory Lab I have 50, my Dymo will immediately print out 50 of these FNSKU labels. So that is helpful. But I will say for like a solid year, I just use my desktop printer. I probably wasted so much money on labels. This goes without saying, but you need boxes. And you want to maximize how much you're sending in, because Amazon does give you really good shipping rates, but the more the bigger the box, the heavier, the more product you can get in at one time. Obviously, it's going to save you money. So you're looking for bigger boxes, and the difference between FBA and merchant, you need plain new boxes, whereas FBA, you're just getting product to the warehouse. You can pretty much use whatever you have. A box laying around, you can reuse bigger boxes. You can go get Walmart boxes to send FBA inventory in. If you have heavier products, you can get heavy duty boxes from like Office Max, Menards, Walmart, things like that. It's just to get the product from point A to point B. You are also going to need a floor scale. Some of these boxes can be up to 50 pounds. That is the limit for sending FBA shipments in. And so a lot of those desktop printers we have for our eBay shipping are not going to be heavy enough. And then also the other issue is the screen is not big enough to see over the box. So looking around, even getting a refurbished or looking on Marketplace for a good floor, just a bigger scale is awesome. Last but not least, I want to show you this paper I use. And I always say last but not least, but you know I don't mean it. We get this paper from Menards. And it's a huge roll, and it's just a hardy, heavy-duty paper. And that is what we use to fill most of our merchant orders and our FBA shipments, if there's any room anywhere. You do want to make sure that the product is getting there safe and sound. It's going to be stronger, heavier duty than craft paper. And we can buy it in these huge rolls. So it's a little bit more, do I say the word efficient too much on this call? But cost efficient. I have talked about my Rollo printer. You do need to print your shipping labels. So actually not last but least, like I said on my last point, but you will need to print your labels to get the boxes shipped out. And we tend to ship everything at USP, or not USPS. We tend to ship everything at UPS. So you can print those labels on a desktop. That's fine, and that's what we started with. And you print them, you tape them onto your boxes. You're gonna have two labels. You print one that is scanned by UPS and then one that is scanned by the Amazon warehouse. So if you have a thermal printer, that's great. If you're just getting started, you probably have a desktop computer and that works fine too. In general, I think it's really important not to overcomplicate the process, because then it just creates more barriers, that reasons why you don't start. I think it's important to use what you have, get started. And Amazon is definitely something that once you go through the steps, all of this starts making sense. And so opening that account, getting ungated, and start sourcing products to sell and create the shipment, send it in. You're going to probably mess up along the way somewhere. You're going to package something wrong, and it's really not the end of the world. Maybe they send it back to you. Maybe they say they're going to fix it and charge you. But that's kind of just the process of learning and jumping in and doing it. And there's really no better education than jumping in and doing this. And then as you learn, you create a process, you understand things that you need to refine what you're doing, tools that will help you along the way. But I think what's best is getting started. I'll post links below to everything I talked about. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am Crazy Flippin' Mom on all channels. Thank you for watching this today. If you are in Snowmageddon, stay warm. Cheers. Bye.